it'll be nicer so you can watch it back at any point or whatever. So
I also want
you
to
can do
share
that.
it with my trading buddies.
I got you. Okay, okay.
Okay, one last thing. I'm just going to share this mirror board with you, just in case if you would like to go in, it's going to be easier. But yeah, I think we can start. So I prepared quite a bit for this. I actually want to preface this by saying that I first wanted to try and talk to you like a year ago, and I remember back then I
Oh
had
shit, I'm
so
sorry, bro.
no, that's totally okay. That's not why I'm saying it. Actually,
Oh,
back
okay,
then,
okay.
I had so many questions, you know. I wanted to consolidate things. I prepared materials and all of that. But now that it's happening, I'm almost like, man, I really don't have many questions. Like, ideally, this would go the way that you would listen to what I have to say, and hopefully, like, you would tell me, yeah, you're probably quite ready, because that's how I feel.
Sweet.
But
Sounds easy. So I could just get a master course. I like it. Sure.
that would be awesome. But also, if you, of course, what I want the most is the truth. If you see that somewhere I'm having a flawed logic or something like that, something is not exactly as you were teaching it, please tell me because that's the most
Sure.
value that I can get. Okay,
You got it, man.
awesome, awesome. So first, I would like to start with quickly explaining how the system works. Uh, because based on that, you will probably be able to tell whether I understand what I'm talking about or not. So
Okay.
all right, so I use the EBC that we always talk about. I use a 60-minute, 6-minute, and 1-minute. And most recently, I also added the 10-second. One thing that I want to touch on is yesterday's webinar, which is, by the way, my favorite webinar out of all of them, because you talked about something that has been causing me so much confusion over years and years, and that was the context. Like for me, it almost always I mean, it never made a lot of sense to me that I would trade something bullish, which would be chopping on the daily, for example, even though
Hmm.
my entries for 1 minute, right? And I know this was a very controversial thing in trade talk because very often I would hear opinions like, man, you don't have to pay attention to the 4 hour, to the daily, and so on. Like it's so disconnected from the 1 minute. But based on all of my testing, it always made so much sense to just trade those markets in one direction that day after day show a certain direction. It just made sense to
Hmm.
me. And I actually
Yeah, I
decided,
agree. I'm very
awesome.
similar to you.
I
Yeah.
decided to ignore everything Trade Talk had to say and I just stick to my own thing. And even though I might like miss out on some opportunity, so to say, I still managed to accumulate over 50 trades in just 1 month on the 1 minute, sticking to these rules where I'm filtering out a lot, you know, like even the daily is trending. And that's only when I start trading. So that's just like by prefacing this, the last webinar was amazing. And that's kind of my philosophy. So
Beautiful. I
when we
love
go
to
to
hear that.
the
Yeah.
Nice. So when we go to the CVE, I reached the conclusion that C and V is pretty much the same. There's just one difference that on the V, we pretty much follow the momentum cycles. I found a lot of similarity to the momentum cycle with Elliott wave. I also recently saw a short that you shared that basically we always assume that whenever we have a bullish market, let's say, and it starts going in our way and starts setting up accumulation MBs and MMBs, we expect it to go up to MMB4 and whatever happens after that can happen, but we don't trade it anymore, right? So it's just like an
Yep.
Elliott wave where you trade the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but in this case it would also be the 6, 7, I guess. But yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of what I'm
Okay. Sure.
expecting these days. So
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
now when you have this context, right? So I'm always looking, I never ever on any of my time frame want to trade in a stage one. Whenever there's a stage one, like on US 100 right now, I'm just patiently waiting. I don't care. The first thing I want to
Hmm.
see is a breakout
You
out of,
still sorry.
yeah,
So in your personal opinion or analysis, right? When you look at US 100, for instance, like right now, NQ,
yeah.
that for you is still stage one, right? You don't view that as an exit out of stage one, right? Because there can be a little bit of discrepancy or personalization there, right? Because like I'm looking at that on a daily, and for me, it's an exit of a stage one and a setup of an MMB one, right? It's just happening at an accumulation MB area, right? So that's the idea of the first accumulation MB is kind of like an MMB one, right?
Yeah.
Is the way we think about it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that price just above 21,600 is where I'm kind of no, that wick to the left, just like that top of that yellow like big candle.
Oh, you mean this?
Um, the candle to the right of that one.
This? Oh, this
Yep, and then the high
validation.
of
This
it,
one. Yeah, yeah,
the
okay.
high. Yeah, so the set. No, the high of the previous candle.
Oh, sorry, this one.
Yeah, so now if you draw that across the entire way, that's where I'm currently, or where I was currently looking at, like, yeah, to the left and right, and just draw like a stage one,
Oh,
like
okay,
a
okay.
box, right?
I see,
So
I
when I
see.
look at it, this is what I saw as my stage one, right? So like there
Hmm.
are ways So we can talk about this for a second. There are ways to make your stage ones either bigger, like you're doing here, and it might give you more confidence to have it come out of something bigger, or to make it smaller and then trade the intraday action, right? So this is the
Mhm.
idea of like, if I'm trading a lower time frame and I'm aware of the fact that in some cases when we come out of a large stage one on a higher, it can just be pure fucking delivery. That might be something that's so worth it for you that it's just like, I'll wait for that. It doesn't really matter,
Mhm.
right? But if you're trading lower time from entry and you have something coming out like this, right? For me, also, it's completely valid. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it, right? Because like when I look at this, I see a move out of a stage one, and now that it's pausing on the rising averages, to me, that's the accumulation MB2. No, from the high to recent two candles, right? The
Oh
most
yeah, yeah.
recent two
Okay.
candles.
This one.
That's the buildup of an MMB, right there
Mhm.
on the averages. So now it has a very simple story. Either tomorrow it fails below basically that candle body low or that wick low, and it's pretty much in distribution, or it can only do one thing, right? And that's go higher. So
Mhm.
I'm willing to play the game from that point onward on that lower because for me it's already an exit of a stage one, right? So the one thing I would say just as I'm listening is although I completely agree with your way of, let's say, defining a stage one and making it bigger or whatever, I don't think there's anything wrong with like a potentially smaller one where like you're willing to now trade those last 1, 2, 3, 4 days, right?
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
But that's just preference, right? So I just want to preface that as well as we're looking at this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because sometimes like I really didn't understand this properly. It didn't make too much sense to me, especially since I come from, I know I shouldn't mix things together, but that's just kind of what I do. I come from a support resistance background, and like one thing that when I combine it with your stuff, which always made a lot of sense to me, is a sell wall, so to say. So a level that whenever price comes in there, like the cells start
Mm-hmm.
raining, right? It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
proof to me that whenever like we get over here, we go down. Like if it happened over here, I would still trade this bullish, right? Because this all of this can still be beautiful reaccumulation. But once it starts
Yeah.
going sideways for a bit longer, like I have proved that whenever it comes here, it's gonna go down. So to me, it was always just better to wait for this, and then I can trade this up on the V momentum cycle already up till
Mm-hmm.
MMB4,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
or I can wait for the pullback, right, which is going to be my big MMB1, where this is like the accumulation, and then I can wait for like my double MB setup over here, and I can trade that higher. So that's kind of how I approach it. And I filter out a bit
Yeah.
more, I guess, but at the like what I get back is I have zero confusion. It just makes sense to
Yeah,
me.
that's good. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's
Okay.
just a way to reduce potential opportunity, right? But
Yeah.
you're happy with it because you're just trading in a very, very clear market condition, which is completely fine.
Okay.
So yeah, it's solid.
Awesome. So, where did I actually put the rest? Oh, okay, over here. So yeah, back to this real quick. So, here we have the V, right? What is most important with the V is pretty much the box, the stage one, and when it comes out of it. So in the past, I used to do this. I had a little bit of confusion. Again, I would probably like I can explain this actually here beautifully because this is perfect. So when there would be like a breakout over here, right? Like a clear candle that it wants to go
Hmm.
out, I would always wait for the MMB on this time frame before I would trade. But
Oh yeah, that
now,
makes no sense. Yeah,
yeah,
because of cycles. Yep, yep, yep,
exactly.
yep.
What I didn't understand is that as this is breaking out already, there can be a V cycle happening right here, right? Those
Hmm.
like 4, 5 waves, whatever, and I can already participate on that. And once the distribution here happens and it starts breaking down, I just assume reaccumulation and the continuation, right? But I would
Yep.
always wait for this, but I didn't have to because so much opportunity was missed over here. So that's
Yeah,
just one new
exactly. Like
thing.
I think great examples is something like shit. Let me try to remember. Um I'm looking at my own screen right now, but Mhm. Like Nvidia on the 8th of January 2024 is a great
NVIDIA.
example of exactly what you just said. Yeah. If you have your trading view open, or you're just streaming your Miro board, can you
Yeah,
stream your
just my
screen?
mirror. Yeah. Can I actually? I don't know.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah, yeah.
If
Close
I
your
do.
stream and then yeah, I'll teach you. Close your stream and then click share. Um
Oh,
and
right.
click
I'm
screens.
recording with this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, on Discord. I see. Here.
Yeah, then click share and then at the top you'll see applications, but click on screens
Yep.
and then do the screen. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So NVIDIA on daily. If you go back to like January 8th.
I'm gonna make
Um,
it smaller. January 8th, let me just go into replay as well. So select bar, January 8th. Let's see.
back,
Here.
back, even more, even more. Not last year.
Oh, last year. Okay, okay. So let's see,
Wait,
24.
what year? 2024. Yeah, January 8th, 2024. There you go.
January
So
8th.
like this, yeah. So this is a great example of exactly what you just said, right? Like, because I was just
Oh
trying to
yeah.
remember where you're kind of waiting, right? And then maybe this is your bigger stage one. Here, zoom in on that for me because your screen is hard to see because it's the very wide. So zoom in even more if you can.
This is the most I can, honestly. Wait.
Oh,
Oh, that's
really?
because.
Okay, okay.
Wait. I can fix this by actually just doing the not the screen, but actually the app because yeah, I have a
Okay, sure. Yeah,
super
go
super
ahead, do
wide
that.
screen. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Now we're here. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so you would probably look at this whole thing as a stage one, I'm assuming, right? Like as it kind of curls
Pretty
back inside
much.
and kind of
Yep.
starts going sideways.
I
Yeah.
would do
And like play
this.
one candle forward.
Okay. I don't know why it's doing this.
Do you have it
Maybe
set to single chart?
maybe
Yeah,
to
yeah, that's why.
images. So
No, go back to your daily. Oh, okay, sure. There you go. Oh, you're on the daily. Okay, click on the replay arrow at the top, the little arrow,
yep.
single chart.
Oh, single chart. Nice. Okay. Yeah, reset and change whatever. Is
Yeah,
this?
now you can go back to the
Oh
8th of
my
January
God,
again.
man. Okay, okay.
It's right. Yeah, it's right there. Easy, easy peasy. There you go. Sure.
Here.
Or the ninth. Yeah, you don't even have to play it now. So yeah, so right here you'd probably say this is stage two now, right?
Yes,
Like
this is
you're
it.
coming out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So now if you play it forward candle by candle, right? Your old you would just be waiting, still waiting,
Yes,
still waiting.
exactly.
But the new
Exactly.
you understands that this is a clear cycle that's occurring now, and
I
a
would be
cycle that's
waiting
worth
for this,
trading.
right? For this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Exactly.
something over here. Yeah.
And now keep playing it. Keep playing it now.
Oh yeah. All of this would be just
Right.
missed. That would be
Yeah,
unfortunate.
exactly, right? Even though it was a completely valid cycle and probably was extremely clear, right?
Yep.
Like,
Perfect
yeah.
example.
So there you go. But
All
I
right.
fully understand what you're saying. Yeah, once you start understanding that just the initial even accumulation MB out of a higher time frame cycle is a lower time frame momentum cycle that's already like pure perfection. That's worth like looking at, right?
Yeah.
Once you get that, things become so easy.
They really do. Yeah. And most importantly, why they become easy is that you can have the nice little formula that you can always follow. Because so there's this one thing. I'm a huge overthinker, Anton. Like I don't know anybody who overthinks more. And I used to have so much confusion about different things, like different rules and putting it all together. But once you actually like, you always used to say that you can only start simplifying once you understand the complexity. But because I overthought everything and answered all of my questions, I then managed to like put all of these sets of rules into like one big rule, and that is the momentum cycle. I just check, is this a momentum cycle, yes or no? But before, I would have like 15 different questions to answer whether it is or not, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It just comes
Yeah,
with
exactly. That's
experience.
why I simplified, right? So before it
Yeah.
was like, do we have a zone that we're coming from? Is it
Yes,
multiple areas showing accumulation, right? So yeah, you're
exactly.
completely correct. And I had a lot of stuff going on too in that regard, right? Which is why I said, okay, there are ways I can take this and simplify and understand this in a much better way and probably teach it in a better way, right? So then it became, yep, here's your cycle, right? Like literally let the cycle play out.
Hmm.
Let it be there. Let the indicator show you that it's happening too, right? Boom, there's
Yeah.
only one way you can now trade it, right? Maybe there's a little bit of refinement here and there because you're willing to trade certain aspects, like even just now, right? US 100, I'm willing to trade certain aspects. You're not. Nothing wrong with that. Wait for the setup, right? But both are going to be valid. So yeah,
I'm glad to hear
completely.
that. All right, so and the last part is the E. So here the one thing that has helped me probably the most is that I realized that the E only comes after a valid cycle already, right? So I started to, as another like refinement or a rule, I started paying a lot of attention to how this little cycle looks like. If this is impulsive and if it looks like someone pressed the fucking buy button and it just goes up and it never looks
Yeah.
back, that's when I know, okay, this is what I want to trade. But like sometimes what happens is like you technically have an uptrend, you technically have a momentum cycle, but it's kind of like suppressed, I would say. It's like chopping and it's around the EMAs instead of above them.
Yeah.
I'm
Look at NQ today. Look at NQ today
NQ
on
today.
the NQ today on the 1 minute after its initial cycle.
NQ
You
is
have an
US
example.
100.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's perfect. Exactly. That's what it is. So
Oh,
there
I
were,
can't see it, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like
yes,
there's a
yes.
1 minute, I think, V cycle that happens,
Yeah,
or it
it's just
starts
ugly.
happening, but it's very like it's literally fucking wicks and candles. Let me
Yeah.
actually put it on mine too, so I can see it. Here, let me find it. We can just link it up. You don't have to screen share. 1 minute. Yeah. So if we look at the 1 minute, the specific time I'm talking about is 12:31 p.m. today, right? So from there, you get a momentum cycle, a full one, honestly, like even 4 or 5 created. But if you look at that cycle, it is made up of dog shit,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So the next time it like flushes out and starts building up stuff, you really have to be like, throw the hope towel in and hope
Mm-hmm.
that whatever buyer was literally sitting there with a flaccid dick, right, buying it, is gonna keep buying it, right?
Yeah.
So you put yourself in a really bad situation because the market's already proven to be dog shit, right? Versus like if you look just before 9:30 a.m. today, that initial cycle, even before it was like open, was beautiful. Then it flushed out, and then 9:30 onwards, what did you get? You got that same buyer just hitting the fucking buy as
Mm-hmm.
heavily as he could, and then you had that kind of 10 a.m. till around whatever till like 10:30 a.m. insane run up, right? And some people did pretty well in NQ today on that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's precisely it. Today I was watching JER 30, UK 100, and I think gold. All of those looked promising when I first like opened up in London, but like I even shared this. I was so happy that my refined rules kept me out not just from sideways choppy markets, but also from trending choppy markets because I only got one entry, which ended up being a BE on gold, but everything, like no matter where I entered, like nothing would go, it would just like pop a little bit, make a tiny bit of a little higher high and immediately come back. It was just ugly, and
So I'm
that's
looking at JUR 30 right now.
mhm.
Um, so let me look at this. So you were trading this, I assume, like, so I'm gonna assume that, okay, let's see, 13, 12, hold on, just give me a sec here. 12.
I have the trades here,
So,
Anton. I have them right here.
oh wait, let me reopen your thing then.
The
Okay,
JER
sure, let's
30
take a
trade
look
is
here.
here, so I'm just gonna explain it real quick. So here on the
You
one
took this?
hour.
You took one today?
Yes, yes, this is my -1 on JER 30. So here I was
Okay.
looking at at accumulation MB1, right? Here it broke out, and I was uh, willing to follow it. So here on the 6 minute, what I have, this is the same line, this little white line. So here there was a big momentum cycle that eventually broke down, and here I saw an accumulation MB, and here it started going up again. So I was like, okay, momentum cycle happening here, where I expected, all good. Maybe MMB, maybe continuation. So I went to
Yeah,
one
very
minute.
solid.
I
I
saw
think that all
this
looks good.
and I was like, okay, this looks very good. I also checked the 10-second, but I didn't actually want to trade the 10-second. I wanted to trade here first. So I waited for this, right? It pulled back. Everything looked beautiful. I went to the 10-second, and here I had, like, I would call this perfect DMB. I know I trade these DMBs a little different than you do. I know you like to get involved in these areas down here, but I really like these kind of like double MBs where the second MB is almost like a momentum MB, and then I protect with the double ATR on the 1 minute, and I usually get to protect somewhere here. This just didn't go that far, but usually that's how it goes. So that was
Hmm.
perfect in my opinion, and it just
Yeah,
tapped me in
solid.
and fucked me up. And ever since then, like it just broke down, I think. And then any like new cycle that was there, like any momentum cycle that I would like to buy stop in this exact same way, just didn't have this impulsivity. It just had this
Yeah,
choppy,
yeah.
draggy nonsense. So it
So
kept me
let me
out.
ask you just a quick question. In the scenario that, let's say, like this gets stopped, let's say it taps you in.
Hmm.
So let's draw a line, just to make it really clear. So draw a line from where it was right there, 21,857, on the tenth on the right hand side price. So right there, start it at the
Okay.
exact candle close,
You mean here?
to the right. No, the other 10-second chart to the right.
Oh, right, right here. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So draw it from the 21,857.
here.
No, 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 no. So like put a dot on the most recent candle's close
Okay.
and start there. So now from there, draw up. No, 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 stop. Go. Okay, good. Now draw. Yes. Now go straight down into a new flush that you would deem clean, maybe like the previous flush. So
Okay,
breaks down,
so I would probably
so
like
comes
something like
up.
this and down.
Not even no. So
Sorry.
same thing as we had before, up to the like entry price or just around.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
now,
Here.
yeah, yeah, perfect. Now you see the without moving your mouse, you see the flush on the left, the one that created the first MB that you have
Ah,
a
yeah, yeah.
rectangle run around. Draw that same flush in terms of the same. Yes, perfect. And now go sideways for an MB1. So the question here is that I would just want to ask you just to understand: would you trade this action if it now set up again for a
Uh-huh.
move higher and then created the same kind of MMB, just a little bit higher, or would
Okay.
this already be chop for you? Right. So what are your rules here?
All depends on the higher time frame. If it's still above these MAs over here, I will consider it. Once it breaks down, once there's a candle close or whatever, it's I consider that fizzled momentum, and I wait for a new momentum build up, just like this.
Okay, solid. That's all. Yeah, I was just looking at where your mind goes there. Yeah, that's very solid. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Then good,
Awesome.
very good.
Thank you. Yeah, test question. Nice. I passed. All right,
Not
all
even a
right.
the test. Like I'm just wondering like where your mind is with there. But yeah, that seems phenomenal.
Okay.
So far so good. Yeah.
So here we have the E, which is the 1 minute, right? So what I did in this year as a new refinement kind of was the E micro, but I kind of did the thing that, so here I have my 1 minute entries and I only enter DMBs, right? So this is like my entry and that's the 1 minute entry. But what I can also do is once I'm already like either if I'm already in the DMB and it's risk free, I can go to the 10 second and these little impulses over here, I still trade them on the 10 second just like I would. So basically, the E becomes the V, as you always say, and then I do
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same. This becomes over here, and I do the
Yep.
same. Just with the 10 second, and because I plan on trading CFDs, I actually use the exact same stop loss that I would use on the 1 minute. So the 1 minute stop loss is usually 1.5 ATR, and that's exactly the same that I use. So even when I'm on the 10 second, I have the ATR set to the 1 minute, and I have the same stop loss. So I just want
Mm-hmm.
to get the opportunity to trade
To
this,
add on to your position, so you
Yeah,
just pyramid in. You kind of
yeah,
want to pyramid
exactly,
in a little bit.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I have a rule there. I can only add a new position when the previous is already risk-free. Otherwise, I can't.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So if
Okay.
you have a position risk free and then you take one and it loses, will you take another? Or will you just
Yeah,
allow the initial position to do whatever?
if the rules are met, I will take another. It's no problem.
Okay, solid. Yeah, I like it.
All right. So that's basically the system. I think I said everything. Like the most important understanding is really all the fractality, like the E becoming the V. That was such a mind blow for me. It was amazing. Ever since then, I also
Yeah, yeah,
understood
yeah.
like all of these thingies that we talked about in the beginning. It was just like everything makes sense. It was beautiful.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I was excited to put that into the portal content because I thought it would kind of mind blow the people that have been going through step by step, right? Because like
Hmm.
you learn all this, you're like, okay, I got it, and then you start seeing, oh shit, right? This is repeating. It's ever repeating. It's the same
Yeah.
exact thing. Yeah,
It's really beautiful what you have put together, man. So easy to understand. I love it, really.
cool.
But this is a little thing that I wrote here. I have this paper in front of me every single day, and I check it before every session just to instill it in my mind. But this is a mistake that I recently did. So I had the 6 minute and it pulled back into the prime area where I want to trade, right? But then the 1 minute would already like fizzle out, so to say. But I would like somehow argue myself into trading this. And I was like, okay, this is in prime position. So I can skip the 1 minute and I can go directly to the 10 second and trade a double MV over
Mm,
here. And man,
yeah,
I
that's
was just
harder. It's
getting
harder,
fucked
yeah,
up.
because you're looking at larger flushes now. You're
Yeah.
playing a major flush, which can work, right?
Hmm.
I even said it in the portal. I said you can play the major flush. It's a lot harder though because you're looking at deeper stage ones, right? And stage ones
Exactly.
mean more potential chop, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that I identified not necessarily as a mistake because it can work, as you say, but more like
Hmm.
I have a very clear idea of what my setup is and what I want to trade, and this was simply not it. And what
Yeah,
was
you
it?
simply just skipped a portion, right?
Yeah, I skipped this basically. This is the important
Yep.
part that I really, really like. This is the momentum. And so basically, I not refused. What's the word when you prohibit someone from doing something? Uh, Not reject. I didn't allow myself to trade here anymore. I made it a rule. I always had to wait
Hmm.
for the MMB1 on the 1 minute at least. That would break over here. That's this. And then as it pulls back, I can trade the double MB on the 10-second here. That's no problem. But this,
Yep,
this was
that's
bad.
good.
Okay,
Understood. Yep.
so I think I told you everything about the theoretical understanding. So please tell me your evaluation. What do you think? Do
I
I
think
know
it's
what I'm
great. I
talking
don't
about?
think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is perfect, dude. This looks amazing. I think I could even like help add even a little bit more just clarity because I know a second ago or a few minutes ago you said I know you like to trade like within that little deeper area. So go back to your other image where you showed me the white boxes and you were like, I know you would trade in this area, but I would trade in this
Um,
area.
was it
You remember,
the most
week
recent
seven,
trade?
week seven, week seven. Yeah, 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 week seven. There we go.
Yeah, here, right?
Um, yes, right. So you said I trade somewhere down there in the 850. You're trading a little
Like
bit higher
here,
up.
ideally,
Like
right?
I've, yeah, well, yes and no, right? So what's really interesting is the way that I'll enter on my E micro kind of lines up with the way that you are entering on your E. So
Yeah,
is
yeah.
your 10-second your E or no? Your one
Uh,
minute's your E, right?
yeah, I have two E's basically. The initially the 1 minute, and once the 1 minute starts delivering, I'll allow myself to go to the 10 second.
Oh, but you're not using an E micro as an actual like
No, no, not the same way you do.
clarification to your E.
No, no, I don't do that. No.
Okay, so here's something that's interesting. I'm gonna show you something right now. This like you don't have to like use this. I just want to show you this so maybe it helps a little bit with the understanding, right? So
Okay, okay.
go to that same entry on TradingView and screen share your TradingView. Okay, so set that up really quick,
Okay.
and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just gonna go say hi to the family. I think they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
got home. One sec.
Okay. Was it here? What? Just stupid or something. One second. Oh, of course. I just got.
That's why I came out. Alrighty. Hello.
Hello, hello. Yeah, I set it up.
All right. Sweet. Sweet. Um. So go to the 1 minute here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you look at something interesting here, right? My double MB entry, let's just say that pushed down maybe a little bit lower, would literally be that buy stop as you have it, right? That's the funny part. Like
This one.
it
Uh-huh.
it'd be very closely aligned. So like my double MB would start with those last two candles that came down, Yeah, right there. That'd be my first MB. If you
Yep.
draw it, you can draw. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
one, and then two is that candle right there.
Yep.
And then if you go into the 10 second, which would be my like E micro, right? This is where I'm looking to basically buy stop a high, right? Is the way
Mm.
I'm thinking about it. So, you know, funny enough, it literally aligns. So it's not that crazy. But if 10 second was my entry time frame, right? You're right. I'd be looking for maybe an entry at maybe that last candle down is probably my first MB, or those last two candles down are my first MB, right?
Here.
Yeah, and then the next one, that high would be the second MB. Yep, and now if I go to a 1 second to be my E micro, it'll look like your entry right now on the 10 second watch, right? So there it is, right? So this is like your second MMB being built right there through this entire range, right? It's a little bit, it's choppy now because it's 1 second,
Yeah.
but
It would be this.
that's
Yeah.
something I noticed as we were looking is like, I don't think our entries are, or our way of looking at this is too different. I just think you chose on your entry time frame to be okay with entering the MMB as is, right? You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, just something to keep in mind. And like, yeah, actually that's it. That's it. So we're good.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
regarding your approach or conceptual take, I think everything makes sense. There's nothing wrong with anything that you said so far. And again, most of it is going to be up to interpretation or up to the person, right? AKA you.
Mhm.
Very little is going to be like, no, motherfucker. Let me see your equity curve. Oh, you're up. You're up 80%. No, it's all wrong, right? You're almost never going to hear something like that from me unless something is so starkly like, what the fuck is he doing? This must have been luck, right? That you'll never hear that from me, especially if you have a concrete understanding in your own mind, which you
Mhm.
do.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. All right, so I even like prepared everything here because I knew exactly what I want to talk about. So we're pretty
Hmm.
much done with this entire thing, and now I want to talk a little bit about my experience with Miro or Miro, whatever.
Hmm.
It's been absolutely amazing. This software is so good for case studying. I've had a blast for it. So when I did my first forward test, I forward tested for 4 months last year, and I was just like break even, a little bit profitable. It was not really that good, and I had to step away after 4 months to refine my rules a little bit more. And it was really painful at that time because I really thought, oh, I maybe already got it. I've been here for 2.5 years, and I kept putting like some restraint, not restraint, some expectations on me that I should be able to do it faster or whatever. And I just ended up doing all kinds of silly stuff. And when I checked the data itself, what really surprised me was that the traits were so different and so not following a formula. It looked completely different than when I actually sat there and traded it. I traded and I felt like I know what I'm doing and that I'm following the exact same trade every time, but I didn't. It was all over the place. So I made
Hmm.
one significant change, and that was that I started to focus more on process over result. And I have this from a few. I have two trading buddies that we collaborate with very, very closely, and I got this recommended that I should really not look at the result whatsoever. Instead, I should try to week after week create like my forward test so that I can look at my trades and every single time I can almost reverse engineer the rules. So it's like every
Hmm.
single time it looks the same. It's like a copy over and over and over. So that's what I
Yep.
focused on. And I focused on batch analysis rather than single trade fallacy, where you
Yep. Very
start
important.
like
Yeah, I talk
refining.
about it all the time, right? We don't
Yeah,
think in the independent, right? In the individual trades. When we do that, we just screw ourselves because we
exactly.
we start to aim a lot more at continued losses, normal drawdowns, at being wrong because single trade fallacy means that you're eventually going to be so wrong everything feels fucked, right? But the second you think
Yes.
in batch, you're like, hey, I'm so wrong, but it doesn't matter because it's part of a batch. Like it's expected,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And I expect mistakes. And I knew I'm gonna make some mistakes this year. I expected that. I was okay with it because I thought, okay, I'm gonna make my batch analysis, and every week I'm gonna give myself instructions. I'm gonna troubleshoot it, identify what's wrong, and try my best not to do it next week. And if I do it again, it just means I'm silly. So I just need to fix something in my head. And this has helped me
Yeah.
so, so much because as you can see, I have week after week data here. I have everything labeled and I really paid so much attention to it. So the way it works, I had something what to focus on, then I have my stuff, then I have a recap of what went well, what went bad, and I have my results. And then next week I give myself instructions again, and I go again. And I just try my best to every single time I can go over all of these trades, and they all look the same. That's essentially what I've been trying to do. And I want to
Yeah.
show you the results of that because I've been baffled. So this is my most recent forward test. This is from the beginning of 2025, sorry, man. Uh, time machined. And
So by forward, you're either on a small live or a paper that you have not reset or whatever, right? Like you're
yeah,
just
literally just
sitting there
demoing.
on a.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, yeah,
literally
perfect, yeah.
simulating basically.
But you're showing up and actually taking these trades,
Yes,
not
yes.
yeah,
I'm
perfect.
here
Yeah,
full
that's
time.
what
I'm
matters.
sitting at the PC. I'm doing everything as if I was trading for real. So
Perfect. Yep, exactly as you should be. Yep, that's good.
So these are the numbers. What I'm currently doing is I have a 3R fixed TP, which I know is not the best, but it's good for a beginner. And it's my next stage. Once I refine my entries to a level where I'm happy, I'm going to focus on management. But yeah,
Yeah, that's
anyway,
phenomenal. I love it. It's perfectly
check out
fine. Yeah.
this, man. Check out this BE rate, 40% BE rate. In the past, I
Oh
used
yeah.
to have like, I couldn't get lower than 50% loss rate. I just couldn't. But now I have a 27 only. I have a 30% win rate, but 40% BE rate. I'm so happy with this. It's amazing. And there is still more refinement to be done. Because if you look at, I collected max RR as well, and it shows me that if I was taking profit at 7 instead, I could beef it up by almost 50%. So, and that's just
Yep.
one tiny little change.
That's wild. I mean, yeah, that'd be insane. Yeah, you could literally double your average, your current 1 to 3 to 1 to 6, right? And it would just
Yeah,
completely shift the system.
yeah, it most likely would.
That's really cool. Yeah, you should go in and actually change it up with like a copy version and just look at what that looks like just in terms of like data and stuff too. That'd be really nice. So you want to talk about break evens then? How are you breaking even? What are the rules you're personally using? How has that looked so far?
Okay. Yeah, I can show you because I have something unique that nobody here has, and it's been a little bit focused on CFDs because CFDs have much more spread than futures and stuff. Let me show you. It's gonna be easier.
So by CFDs, are you just talking about like FX basically?
Yeah, like the indices and everything. I think that the spread that you get basically with MentFX or Ment funding, sorry, because that's what I want to go with.
Yeah, yeah, that's CFD. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, I got you. Understood.
Just one thing. Is this? Are you seeing my Notion right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So check it out, by the way. This is my Notion. I not only have the Miro, I also have the Excel, and I also have the Notion. And my Notion, I go over it in the batch analysis. I have tags here where if something is out of the ordinary, I tag it. I focus on max RR. And here I have several things. And that's like when I do the batch analysis, I want to be able to just put perfect on everything. Like you can see C, V, E, E micromanagement. If everything is perfect, it deserves a perfect, and I want to be perfect, of course. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
let me show you how it works. So I have this
Sure.
trade over here on German 30. So just quick explanation, clearly bullish market on the 1 hour. Here on the 6 minute, I have a stage one identified and it's broken out and I start following it on the E. Here I count my MMBs. This looks like accumulation down here at the bottom of the green line, MMB1, MMB2, 3, 4. So this is pretty much the last point where I would be willing on the 1 minute to take this pop up. So on the 10 second, I can take an entire momentum cycle going up here, right? That's my prep, preface here. So
Yep.
once it starts showing strength away from my entry, so there are two entry points that are important for me. The intended entry point, which is the analysis entry point, that's the orange line here. That's where I want to get tapped in, and that's where I add the spread, right? But I get tapped in here where the tool is. Do you know? Do,
Mm-hmm.
do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
so I have two risk reductions. The first reduction is that I only reduce risk to where I wanted to get tapped in without spread. So I still have spread risk on. I call this spread risk. The reason I'm
Yeah, so
doing
that's
this
the
is,
that's the assumed like minus 0.4 R or 0.3 R that we have in
yeah,
the sheet, right?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Zero point 0.2, zero
Yeah.
point 0.3. That's what I'm playing with. Because what I've seen many, many times is that it comes back, it just taps me out at the entry and then goes. So pretty much my thinking here is I'm taking another trade here where I'm trading 0.3 R for the potential of staying in this while it's still valid. And many times, Anton, it has happened that it didn't tap me out because of this little rule and it continued going higher, right?
Yeah,
So
look at the
this
left. There's an example right there.
Oh yeah, yeah, there is exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
there is
I've
an
seen this many
example right
times
there.
too. This is because of literal, like, if we want to go by course, this is literally because of demand validation and where it happened, right? Like the demand validated or the MB validated at that price, 21866.64, right? Price can literally come a tick above that, and theoretically your demand is truly valid, right? Like you
Hmm.
still have all the demand that was present in that moment in that market, and selling before then is of course it kind of like doesn't make sense, right? That's
Yeah.
why when people have asked me this, I'm like, I will use the analysis as the exit point, not the actual entry price,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Because, well, it's not about that. It's not about protecting more money potentially. It's about getting out where you know you should be out, right? Like
Yes.
that's all it comes down to. Yeah.
Hmm. So my rule here is I want to see clear strength, either on the 1 minute or 10 second. I already know how both versions look like. It pretty much looks like this. It's usually 2 or 3 candles that like really go in my direction, and I'm like, okay, this is clearly showing intent that it wants to go. That's where I reduce risk the first time. The second time I reduce risk when there is a fractal structure happening above that level. So first I reduce, then I wait for a pullback that can be fractal, and once it breaks its high, just like it did with this candle, that's when I'm completely risk-free.
Perfect. Yeah.
So
Makes
that's how
sense.
it works.
I
And
like it.
this one was a nice winner. So,
I think honestly, I haven't looked at a lot of your trades, but I think you could improve your break even rates even more. Maybe.
mhm.
That's maybe something to just keep an eye on. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with what you just said at all.
It's also because I think you have a way tighter stop than I do, because even on the 10 second, like you could see that. Wait, let me go into the Miro. You can see that. Sorry, it just lagged. You see how wide these stops are? I think they are wider than what you would usually use. Like for example, you can see here, because I protect usually the whole double MB. So
Hmm.
for me, I feel like it makes a bit more sense to go
To
break
give it
even a
some
little bit
space.
later. I feel like I found a
Yeah.
really sweet spot for that.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. If you have a larger stop, theoretically, it would be because you expect to maybe give it the space it needs to just accumulate or reaccumulate, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Sure.
Because, for example, here, right, I see it like chopping around a little bit here, and I'm still like, nah, nah, this is nothing, this is nothing. But somewhere over here, I'm like, okay, yeah, this seems like it really wants to go away from here. And if it comes back, I'm not supposed to be in this trade anyway. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay,
Solid.
and now I want to share something with you that has been probably the most enlightening thing this month that I did. And that was, as I told you, I allowed myself to make mistakes. But there is one important thing. If you look at all of my entries over here, like at all of my analysis, you can see that I take the screenshot before the entry. It has confused me many times before, and I felt like I couldn't really learn the mechanical learning of just like putting it into my head how it looks like when I already had the result in front of me. That just
Hmm.
never really worked for me. So instead, I have everything without the result, and then in the batch analysis, I go over it, and I have this textbook trade in my head, right? That I know what I want my trades to look like, and based on that, I label it whether it's a mistake or not. And let me tell you, I was really afraid that when I label something as a mistake and then I try to filter it out, that I'm going to have worse results. You know, that maybe
Hmm.
it's all random. And if I actually, like, I don't know what I'm doing. And if I filter these things out, it's all going to be like, there's going to be no correlation or whatsoever. But let me tell you one thing. Every single week, week after week, when I filtered out my mistakes, so here, for example, I have my results 18 traits, right? Plus 1.8 R. Once I labeled everything as mistake or not, regardless of if it was a winner or not, and then filtered out, guess what? Less traits, better result. Next week,
Yeah. Makes sense.
this was a perfect week actually. Never mind, that was nice.
Perfect week. Nice.
Less trait, 23 plus 14, or 11 plus 17. Better results, less traits. Better results, less traits. Better results, less traits. And I was just like, week after week, holy fucking shit, I might know what I'm doing. This is awesome. And I
Yeah.
just, now I really understand what it means. And so many funded people in MentaFX said it, that you just have to focus on your A or S tier setup. And that's it.
Yeah, and basically the other like most important thing that you keep hearing that at the start just sounds like what the fuck is he saying is, take less trades and be even more patient. You're
Hmm.
like, what are you even talking about, right? Like what the fuck does that mean? Well, I think this is the perfect representation, right? Like the patience that it would take to not take something that looks like it could be a trade, to then have less trades on the day or on the week or on the month, is actually the thing that makes you much more money, right?
Hmm.
So that act of literally staying out and trading by not trading is making you, in some cases, over 3 to 4 extra RR per week, right? You
Yes.
put 12 months at 4 weeks each. That's what, 16 RR per month plus times 12 months. You're looking at like 200 RR add to your bottom line over a year, right?
Yes.
Even if you are conservative, maybe 100 R add to your bottom line. And that's done because you A, trade less, B, are more patient, right?
Hmm.
And and I forgot what you just said, what a lot of the fund members were saying, which was
They
yeah,
were
wait for your
saying the S tier
A and
setup.
S tier setups.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
best.
You can only play the best ones. And this is exactly what happens. Like it's beautiful to see in kind of in action, right?
So I'll show you what in action is, okay? Because here, what I prepared, these 92 traits, that's including mistakes, so that I'm fair to myself. But I also did the filtering. Let me show you something. With mistakes, I had a total of 87 traits and plus 53R. Without mistakes, I only had 56 traits, but 68 R. Isn't that
Beautiful.
something?
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm sure this also gave you a ton of confidence
Oh,
because
yes, so much.
while it's true, right, that we understand we should be patient, that we shouldn't make mistakes, that we should take the best setups. While that's all true, I think this might have been like the best representation of even when you fuck it up, even when you take almost double the amount of trades you should have taken, right? 87 versus 56, like over 2/3 more trades than you should have taken. Even if you do that, right, you're still immensely profitable, right? And that's a very important thing to realize because that creates one of the biggest bits of confidence in yourself because you go, holy shit, if I do protect my downside, if I don't go full ape shit retard and simply stick to -1 R for my losses and just manage, and even if I fuck it up, I'm gonna make money.
Yeah,
Which means from there, the sky is the limit, right? You can peel away at minor mistakes and add onto your bottom line, but if you don't, you will still add overall to your bottom line over time, which is insane, right? That's exactly what you've seen, right? It could be 20 trades in a week and up 4 RR or 15 RR, or it could be 10 trades in a week and up 18 RR, right?
yeah.
You start to see that even mistakes are okay and that as a trader you are bound to make them, but in the end you're still going to be profitable regardless. Once you see that, it's like it strips away the emotional without you having to read a book or learn something about your emotions, right? Because at that point, all you have to do is manage the downside risk and get a little bit better from a mistake perspective, right? There's nothing more than you need from there.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
All right. Well, I wanted to show you something. Last week, German 30 had absolutely beautiful delivery, and I want to show you how I traded it. Because, okay, so there was one, two, three, four, 5 winners or 6 winners in a row, I think. One, two, three, four, five, 6 winners in a row. I captured 4 of them. And after that, I thought, hey, I've had enough. I'm happy. So I didn't trade, but maybe I should have.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I secured plus 12R on a single day. I just want to show you these trades because they were absolutely beautiful. Like, if we
Yeah,
look
let's
into
look through
this,
them. That's awesome, man.
so here's German 30, right? So I saw all of this as a stage one. I was a little bit like creeped out about this, but also I checked the daily and the daily looked beautiful. So I was like, yeah, this makes sense. So after this, I was like, okay, I want to trade this momentum cycle out. So this momentum cycle goes on. There's a little bit of a stage one over here. I waited for it to break out and start a new momentum cycle, MMB1, MMB2, right? And I started looking here. So 1 minute, I went
Solid.
down. Everything looked pretty nice, especially like this one where money really came in. Then it broke down here a little bit. And so this was not necessarily perfect because of this little thingy, but I also know that this is a 60-second chart. Maybe on the 59-second chart or the 61-second chart, this would just be a wick, so it doesn't really
Yep.
matter. So this is a really nice box to me. And my refinement is I always like to see a little like a nice box price action under the EMAs, then a nice demand validation coming out of here, like with chunky candles and everything, and then a nice MB just like symmetrical, similar size over here that is above the rising EMAs and doesn't dip under. That's like my perfect setup. And that's what happened. And yeah, here I took the 1 minute. I didn't even have to look at the 10-second because the 10-second I would continue trading here, as you will see later.
Hmm.
So that was
Yep,
the
very
entry.
solid.
Boom, win, easy. Next one. We developed a little bit. You can see the previous entry over here. We went higher. We pulled back, right? I was waiting. I know exactly what I want to see. This is not the kind of MB I was looking for. I'm not interested. Whatever this is, I don't care. This is part of this, most likely. I looked for the
Yeah,
break. Here,
solid.
beautiful, beautiful MB. Here it came at or above. Beautiful, same symmetrical size. Took it again. Used the 1 minute for entry. Boom. Beautiful delivery. Next one. We go here. This was the last trade. Here it starts delivering, right? We're in the same momentum cycle over here. Here it pulls back for the first time. This could be MMB1 or MMB2. However, depends how you see this. These are for me EC1, EC2 because they're so close. So now I'm
Yep.
counting MMB1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it came here and now I can go to the 10-second and look for exactly the same. Here I am, broke down beautifully, little box over here, went higher, box over here. This, okay, I labeled this as good, not perfect. This was just good. This could be a little bit better, but I thought, hey, this still looks very good. I want to take it. Beautiful delivery. Worked nicely. All
Hmm.
right, continued on. Now, 6 minute finally broke down, right? And here it created its MMB1, which goes hand in hand into with my entry rules, which is this is exactly the kind of MMB1 I want to see on the entry. So I want to see it on the V as well, right? Because that's my accumulation MB. Goes higher,
Yep.
and here I can trade it. So this is the momentum cycle. Looks like somebody pressed the buy button. Why wouldn't I trade it? I went here to the 10-second,
Bro, I love that.
and here we are,
I'm
man.
probably gonna use that in a webinar, bro. Somebody press the buy button.
And as you can see, here we are again. Looks exactly the same, doesn't it? Like usually it needs to be 2 or 3 candles for me, at least two, for it to be a valid MB. Of course, comes in, beautiful delivery. And guess what? There was one more. Here it continues again, same story as before. I think this was where we took no, this is where we took the last trade. Here it continued. I didn't get a setup over here because here this invalidated it for me, but I was still in
Yeah,
the
so you
trade.
don't, you basically don't like it when it gets to the blue, basically.
Yeah, this is a 30. I'm just
Um,
experimenting with that a little bit. Like in general, I
hmm.
don't like it when it like breaks below the 10 and 20 and stays there. If it like immediately goes up again, I'm just like, okay, that could be still a spring, because like we have this box, we have a little chop around, and if it does this just a little bit and immediately goes up, I'm like, yeah, that could
Yeah,
be a spring. No problem with that.
makes sense.
But
Sure.
this was trash. So yeah, it went
I
higher,
get you. I get you.
pulled
Quick
back.
question. I see you have the five on there too, the shade of five. Are you using the cheat code five, or are you always waiting for it to truly come into the zone? Or do you use the five because it comes to the zone after the setup? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I know. I'm still playing around with it. I'm keeping it there to
hmm,
pay attention, but honestly,
cool.
what I pay most attention to is the actual E and how the E looks like in regards to this cycle, this breakdown, and this DMB. That's way more important to me.
Yep, very smart. I like that.
And
Perfect.
actually, you know what? I think I labeled this as a mistake. Yes, I did, because this is exactly what I don't like to see. The MB1 was perfect, but the MB2, as you can see, it broke below again. I don't like to see that. I should not have taken it. But hey, I'm human. I make mistakes. It's okay. So this delivered as well.
It is okay. Yeah.
Ugly DMB, mistake. And yeah, I didn't take it anyway because I already was plus 12. So I was like, okay. But yeah, this was a mistake basically. So yeah,
Solid.
what do you
Very
think?
solid. Was there not another plus three? I think there was one more now.
Uh,
Yeah, the
no.
last one.
Oh
Let's do the last
shit,
one.
there was one more, man. There was
Come
one
on,
more.
bro. I'm
Okay.
here. I'm here trying to learn. Like,
So yeah, this was MMB 1, 2, 3, 4. So still completely valid. And on the 10
one,
second,
two,
I'm willing to take
three.
this up.
Yeah, you could even potentially have counted a reset count too, right?
I
Just because
could,
of
I
the
could, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
could.
So just something to look at because I don't know
That's
what happened
true.
after this, but yeah, it's very solid. Yeah,
And
one, two, three, four. Yeah, good.
here was this.
That's
That's the
beautiful. Yeah, that looks a good
previous
one.
entry, I think. But yeah, this one went again, like beautifully going up, 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 up. Somebody pressed the buy button, and yeah, beautiful DMB, and that delivered. So yeah, I milked Jur 30 so fucking hard, and I was like, man, it almost like I caught a similar thing on EU at the very beginning of the month because I had plus 4 wins on EU. And I also caught another thing like that on gold. And I was thinking, Is this all just a fluke? Was it random? Like these results that I'm seeing, like these results, even with the mistakes, is it really replicable? Because if so, bro, I've cracked the code. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm
bro. That's all the
so
code. That's all it looks like to crack the code. You just repeat the
yeah,
same thing, and you realize, holy shit, right? And one of the easiest ways to truly define, quote unquote, is it a fluke or not, right? Look at the fact, like zoom out a little bit to those weeks. Take a real appreciation for the fact that each one of these weeks, if we zoom in, are independent and completely, in some cases, different assets across the board, right?
yeah,
JER 30, EU, gold. Like you'll zoom in anywhere and it's a different asset class, right? So
that's true.
if anything, that should be the biggest pointer towards the fact that you're not fluking it, right? Because what's happening is you're directly now assessing strength, trend, and momentum and cycle rather than, oh my God, EU is hot because the interest rates changed, or like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
gold is hot because people are talking about it and Trump is talking about it, right? There's no longer like, am I randomizing my results or am I just lucky because of this market environment? Or in this case, you have multiple markets, which means you're looking at multiple market environments, which means that if you're seeing success and building profitable outcomes with or without mistakes from looking at multiple assets, you already know the answer to whether it's a fluke or not, right?
Yeah, I think it isn't, man. I think this is
Yeah.
really gonna happen. After 3 years of tryharding, it's gonna happen.
Well, funny enough, you don't even have to say like that because it's already happened, right? This is forward. This
Yeah,
is this is real action. You're not sitting there back testing action. Yes, you don't have specific risk behind this at the moment, but these were all accumulated before they ever occurred and forwarded completely, whether it was paper or live, right? If I just now said, dun dun dun, congratulations, what I didn't tell you is that on the back end, I've been running a copy trader for all the trades you've taken on your paper. And I was actually trading a $1 million account with it, and you just made me 1.2 mil, right? Because you have like 80 or 120%, 80% return, whatever it is, right? You'd be like, wait, what the fuck? Right? So the reality is you've already done it, right? If this was all copied by someone that you didn't even know, right? You just made that return. This happened live.
yeah,
This wasn't like let me run a back test of all this on the stuff that I know has worked to make sure that it all looks good. No, no, this is I already know what looks good. I've done so much work. I'm running this thing on the live markets across multiple assets based on which setup, based on the moves that I'm looking for, and I have positive result out of it.
yeah,
Right? That's where your mind should be. So now it's just a question of how much money do I want to throw in this thing and keep doing it, right? That's all the question becomes. And then you just do that, right? Because there's nothing more to it. You throw some money in, you can even throw some that you don't even care about losing, right? And then do it for a month or 3 months. If you see even, let's say, one third of the results or one fourth of the results of your forward test, even though it should be around the same or equivalent, because again, like, yeah, we are in a crazier market that got really bought up, right? Like on a lot of indices and stuff. So if you've been trading indices, JER 30, US 100, right? There's some opportunities. And like gold, I know you traded that. That's been good for like a year, right?
yeah,
But we all know why, because it's in that cycle, right? So like you could throw a little bit that you're willing to lose completely, or a funded account, whatever it is, and do it for like 3 months. And if all is similar, you at that point it's either A, compound and scale, or B, throw more money in. There's nothing more to do, right? Because you've already done the work. The work is in front of you. You've literally done this all live. Right. People don't realize that because when we call it forward testing, it sounds like this next step, right? It sounds like, ooh, I gotta do the forward test and figure it out. It's like, buddy, if you've done the forward test and it's positive, you're a profitable live trader. You just don't even like know that yet. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because
yeah,
a forward test quite literally is I don't know the data because it is not available. I'm looking at assets in real time, trading them in real time. The only difference is that it's on a paper trading account. But
yeah.
who's to tell you it wasn't copy traded to somewhere else, right? Like, and if it was, then boom, you're profitable, which you are. So there's nothing more for you to do than to just execute, 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 because you're in the perfect spot.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. But yeah, man, a lot of
Bro,
work.
I'm so happy to sit here and have you teach me. It's so amazing to see it kind of spoken back to me from the perspective of someone who's gone through the work himself, right? And pulled out of it a beautiful system that again I mean, I'm sure in the team you see the people's equity curves all the time. They're very similar. A lot of people have, that 20% win rate, 30%, 40% win rate, very, very similar. Higher break even. Sometimes people have a higher loss rate, and it's a general stage one, stage two based curve that increases, right? And I'm sure you've seen so many members have this because again, they're following the rules that build it for themselves, and it's just amazing to get on with someone like yourself too, have you walk me through it too, because now this is forward tested, right? Like I'm sure you've seen like Anthony's, over the last few weeks, forward test as well. It's very similar. There's
Hmm.
nothing different, nothing special. It's just the act of doing, right? And he did it across assets that you've never even heard of, right? He's doing it on like FB, Meta, and like like all the US stocks. You're sitting here doing it on Euro USD, JER 30 gold,
Yeah.
CFDs, right? Tomorrow or in a year from now, who knows? You might be buying fucking Trump coin or Bitcoin for a trade because it's clear and you're taking it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Whatever's
perfect. This
demanded.
is exactly what is meant. Oh, you have one on it?
No, I'm saying whatever is demanded, I'll be there. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
parasite
Whatever's
those
being
moves, man.
whoever's pressing the buy button,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I'm gonna fucking leech on that.
Whoever's pressing that fucking buy button, I'm coming for it, bro. But literally, that's how it looks like. And it's funny because you can even look back at a lot of my trades, right? Like I took MSTR, right? Like let's do one more thing. Let's go trading view, screen share the trading view
Okay,
again, and
okay,
let's go.
okay.
Let's look at that really quick.
Window, buy trading view. There we go. So,
There we are. Nice. Yeah, go MSTR. Let's just think that you're now trading as a higher time frame trader. You're going weekly, daily, 60 minutes, right? So let's go
so we can
weekly
see.
first. Sure. Yeah.
Weekly is obvious.
You know,
Looks
Yeah,
beautiful.
weekly's obvious. No shit. Sure. Let's go daily. Oh, are we in
Uh,
replay mode? We are in replay mode, aren't we?
are we? Okay, we might be. No, no,
I
we're
don't care.
not.
We can stay in it. Oh, we're not.
No,
Okay.
we're not.
Daily.
Okay, daily, daily. Okay.
Yeah, so if you look left, that's the leg I traded, the one left of this. I know right now it's trash. Right now it's stage one, but look
This one.
left. Left, left, left. No, no,
Oh,
no.
you mean this
Left.
this whole thingy?
Oh, yeah. This is where I traded.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So, like, now if you
This.
draw any of those as MMBs, so just let's do a circle around each MMB that you would personally trade as a trader. Which ones
Okay.
would you be okay with? Yeah, just circle
So
them, just so we know where they are.
I would see this as the accumulation most likely, and I would trade
Yep.
this. I would trade
Perfect.
this. I would trade this,
Perfect.
and I would trade this.
Yep. Okay.
Four.
And let's go to the 60 minute or 65. Doesn't really matter. Just prefer like it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Like, and let's look at the buy button before every single one of these flushes. Right. Like,
Okay. So, I know you probably get entries. I'm not sure if you get entries everywhere or not, but I would not. I would get an entry here actually. Like this would be still valid for me. This was nice. I would
yeah, that
buy
looks
flip
good.
this. Uh, whoa.
And that one holds on too. Plus
Next
three.
one,
A
plus
nice little
three.
plus
Yeah.
three there. Yeah.
This one, this one I would not take. This is too far. In my
Yeah.
experience, this
I
is
get
gonna
that.
come
Makes
back.
sense.
So I wouldn't
Hmm.
take this, but I could probably go lower, and I would probably trade here. I would trade
Yep.
here. I would trade here. I would trade here.
Yep. I do the same thing. I trade those on the 10 minute. Yep. Literally.
Hmm.
Personally as well. I trade those
This
MMBs.
one,
Yep.
yeah, this one got gapped, and also it's not exactly the way I want to see it. Like this one was a nice MB1, but the MB2 I didn't like. But then it went
Yeah, yeah.
into
I
MB3.
wasn't I wasn't asking about this one in terms of like everywhere you'd enter. I just wanted to um bring up and really solidify there's a buy button being pressed. Like when we
Ah,
look at
yeah,
this,
yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah,
Right,
this
it
is so
just
clean.
each one of these circles is made up of just a buy button being pressed. You're not looking at it like, is it maybe kind of getting bought? You're like, okay, yeah, I mean, like, well, there's nothing else I can do on this but buy it, right? That's where your
Yeah,
mind is. It's like, if I'm selling this or whoever's selling this, they're fucking idiots, is where your mind is, right? And you're like,
yeah,
done. That's all you need. I'm riding that coattail now,
yeah.
right?
Like, look at this. This is beautiful buying. This is beautiful buying. This. All of these impulses, of course, I want to get on that. Like, this looks just
Exactly.
beautiful. But when it starts
And
like
what's really
chopping
cool.
around, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And what's really amazing, right, is that as you now go into your live and you start trading this and doing this, right, you're guaranteed, by the way, just so you understand this, you're going to grow your account. You're going to get that to 100K, to 200K, to a million over time, guaranteed. And what's amazing is that at that point, you can literally now take that capital and put it to work however you see fit.
hmm,
That 1 minute on the right hand side might become a 10 minute, that might become a 60 minute, and it might become full of I don't even know, Indian assets, American assets, whatever it is, right? Probably American because we have so many and it's the most liquid. But there's nothing saying that in a few years from now, you're not sitting here literally drawing those greens or seeing those greens going, holy shit, right? Someone's pressing the buy button. I
Yeah.
want to be behind this. And there's no
Yes.
reason that you can't just have your money behind some of these moves, right? Which is a very powerful thing to know because, again, just like those mistakes and versus non mistakes bring you now confidence to know that you're profitable either way and that you just have to execute. Similarly, the confidence and understanding that you have basically an oasis available to you as you get even better, right? That's all there too. So just repeating the same thing is going to lead to improvement, and that improvement is going to lead to even more opportunity. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yes.
So having that by your side is so powerful. But yeah, I think everything you've kind of shown me is completely in line with portal material, with course material, with everything that I try to teach and get across to people. And I think you've done a very good job of refining it and understanding it. So, I mean, yeah, dude, you got to execute. Got to see where this takes us now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking to me. This is like I know I shouldn't care about this necessarily about the stamp of approval or something. And honestly, if this didn't work out, I would probably still be very confident going forward. But this feels super, super good. Let me tell you. This feels really
Good,
nice.
good.
I'm happy.
I'm very glad to hear it, man. Okay, listen, I got to run, but I want to wish you a very good rest of your week. Keep going, keep
Thank
trading,
you.
keep posting as you need to, and always keep me updated. Okay?
Just one last thing, Anton. I want to say that
Yeah,
man, I respect you so much. Choosing to be a mentor and especially in FX in trading must be such a like must have been such a struggle and y- really I admire you. You're doing God's work, even though I don't believe in that, but you're amazing. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I have
I
so much respect
appreciate
for
you a
you.
lot, bro. It's you guys and the way that you personally also work and take in the info that makes place what it is. But I also appreciate you so fucking much for saying that. So thank you, bro. Thank you a lot.
All right.
All right.
Nothing but the best wishes to your family. I hope everything goes well, and I'm looking
Likewise,
forward to
man.
staying much, much longer. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so much.
Keep me posted, man.
Will do, will do. Peace out. Bye.
All right. Peace.